Welcome to In 5 Minutes. Now we'll discuss next topic of functions, that is storage classes. It's a theoretical topic. There are 4 keywords of C: auto, register, static and extern. These keywords of C are called as storage classes. Now when you define any variable, commonly we write just a data type and name of a variable. For example, we write float A or int B, where we mention just a data type and variable name. But the complete definition of any variable is storage classes, then type qualifier, then data type, and then variable name. We commonly use only this much part, that is data type and variable name. Storage class can be auto, register, static, extern according to requirement. Even the type qualifiers are 4 keywords that you have done already in previous videos, like signed, unsigned, short and long. So when you define any variable, we need to define all the 4 things. But if you don't mention, then storage class and type qualifiers are assumed. For example, if we define any variable in a function, let's say as int a, where int is a data type and a is a variable name. Now first, for such declaration of variable, it is assumed that its by default storage class is auto and its type qualifier is signed. So when you just define a variable as int a, it is assumed to be auto signed int a. Now what these type qualifiers really do? These type qualifiers decide 4 different features of any variable. Like a data type decides a type of a data, it is char or a floating point number or integer. Type qualifier decides it's whether it's signed or unsigned. Long or short decides the size of a variable. Here the storage classes decide the 4 different features of any variable. Location, that is where the variable will be created in computer. Then default initial value, what is the default initial value if the variable is not initialized. Then scope of variable, that is area of working of a variable, which we discussed just in previous video. And lifetime, that is for how much time or in what area of program the variable will be alive. Now we'll discuss these 4 features for all the auto, register, static and extern. Let's see first the very simple part of this storage classes, that is location. All the variables except for register variables are created in memory. So location is memory. So auto, static and extern variables are defined in computer's memory, that is RAM, random access memory. The register variables are defined in the registers of CPU. Now registers of CPU work faster, much faster than memory, and that's why if we want to use some variable repeatedly, like a looping variable, we can define that variable as a register variable. So the register variables are defined inside the registers of CPU. In CPU there are some memory bytes, they are called as registers. When you define a variable as a register variable, it will be defined inside the CPU and its working will be much faster than memory variables. Default initial value. Now let's discuss one more thing about auto and register. Auto and register variables can be only local variables, they cannot be defined as a global variable. That is, global variables cannot be defined as auto or registers. Default initial values. Since they are supposed to be local variables, by default initial value of those variables will be undefined, that is not defined or garbage value. So both are undefined. So default initial value for auto and register is undefined. Scope of variables. Now again, since auto and register are local variables, their scope is restricted to the function or block in which they are defined. So their scope will be only inside the function or block. The lifetime of auto variables and register variables, since they are local, will be again restricted to function or block in which they are defined. As a function or block starts working, variables will be created, that is born, and as the function terminates, the variables will be removed, that is variables will die. So that is their lifetime, that is function or a block. Now let's talk about static variables. Static and extern variables have by default values 0. Again, static can be global or local, both will be by default initialized to 0. Scope of static variables and lifetime of static variables we have to understand with the example. Now regarding external variables, they are like global variables and their scope and their lifetime is also, both are throughout the program. So they will be accessible throughout the program, and also they are alive throughout the program. They will not be dying till the program ends. Now let's talk about static variable, scope and lifetime. For that we'll take example.